Hey guys, ch.1 here, and today is my first video, so I'm gonna go over some things. First thing I'm going to explain is what I do on my channel. Alright, I do gameplay, and that gameplay that I do at the moment, let me move my phone since it's being stupid. Alright. Is Minecraft and Roblox. Well, first I'm gonna do Roblox because my Minecraft is very laggy. And I read fan fictions, but I'll read anything you want. As long as it's not inappropriate. If it's inappropriate, I'm not reading it. But if there's something inappropriate in there that you did not know about, I will just say, like, if they're gonna do something, I'm gonna say, and you know what's gonna happen next, and then I'm going to continue reading after that inappropriate part is done. Alright, I also do pranks, and vlogging, which I'll do anything with vlogging. I'm also gonna do challenges. Okay, now also before we get started on what I'm going to do with you guys today, I'm going to explain something about my character. So a character that I use for stories when I'm reading is Isha Walker. Sorry, yeah. I also repeat myself, guys. I am very sorry. And well, Isha Walker, she's a girl, any age that they make her in the stories. And so, yeah. But her hair color is blue umbro. If you don't know what umbro is, well, it's where it starts. Well, it's where you take color, and it starts off as the dark part of the color. Then it slowly goes to the lighter color of the color. Like for me, it's gonna be blue. So it's gonna start dark blue, and as it goes down my hair, it's gonna become a lighter blue, like a pale blue. And she has dark blue eyes. The same thing about me and my character is that we're both pale. Well, I think I'm pale. And we both have dark blue eyes. So yeah. Eventually I will grow up my hair to the length of hers because it's her lower back. Because it goes into her lower back. It's also, my hair is not a blue umbro, so yeah. Now, I'm trying not to bore you guys. So, now, let's get on to the story. Which, I'm also going to be reading the prologue and the first chapter. And it is Chains. Eyeless Jack Explorer. Alright. Now, let's do my best to not mess up reading. Which I tend to do a lot since I am not the best reader. Sorry. Alright. I leaned against the wall, clutching my stomach, panting heavily, feeling numb all over. Blood was splattered all over me. I'm pretty sure about a quarter of it was my own. I couldn't really focus on that right now. All I could think about was the limp body laying on the ground in front of me, blood pooling around him. A knife lay on the ground next to his open hand, the glistening blade tinted with red, the same red on my shirt. My stomach lurched at the thought that it had come from me. Buddy, I choked, covering my mouth as tears formed in my eyes. Memories flashed by as I stared at his corpse. So sorry, I would lean away. Remembering his bright smile and deep horse-like smile. Sorry, laugh. I also know some of that. He'd taken me in when I was little. When I was a little kid, after my parents pretty much abandoned me. We live alone in the mountains, miles away from people, with only a computer connecting us to the rest of the world. Even so, we were never lonely. We had each other, and I grew up happy and loved. He was supposed to be my guardian, my protector. And he was dead. Wait, and now he was dead. And he had tried to kill me. Vomit crept off the back of my throat. I didn't know whether to swallow it or to let it out. Why? Why had he tried to kill me? We had so much fun over the years. Not once did I ever see signs indicating he didn't like me. There was no abuse, no disconcerting looks or terrifying nights. He loved me like his own daughter, and I loved him like a father or uncle. All I could imagine was his warm, loving smile as I stared out of his face, eyes glazed open, and his expression now permanently etched with pain. At this point, I couldn't hold the vomit back anymore. I hunched over and puked. I couldn't understand. That morning, he had been so normal. We left for town to go on his weekly shopping trip. He even joked around. Why had he been covered in blood when he stumbled out of his pickup truck? Why had he swung a knife at me and I brought him inside to get first aid? Why had he kept looking at the basement? Eyes darted over to the door behind his corpse. My breathing so heavy. I had been down there a few times, but not often. It wasn't like I was forbidden to go down there. I just didn't want to. He filled it with stuff about monsters and murderers and stuff. But he was a horror fanatic. Always had been, but he never got me into it as much as him. He spent a lot of time down there watching horror movies and stuff like that. But now that I thought about it, he'd been going down there more and more. Was that the reason? Had he become so obsessed with serial killers and movies that he decided to become one? That was ridiculous. If being a horror fan was enough to become a killer, that stuff would have been illegal by now. But the buddy I knew wouldn't murder someone. He wouldn't. Not a stranger, not an intruder, and especially not me. Wiping the vomit from my mouth, I stumbled to my feet, using the wall for support. Sherry Page shot through my side where he had stabbed me. Sorry. If I really on, I just hit my leg. Right. But I didn't care. Slowly I approached the door and grabbed the handle, taking a deep breath before I opened it, entering the dark abyss. How long had it been since he had seen the sky? How long had it been since he had last been able to run freely? These were questions in Jack's mind as he sat in the corner of the room, arms suspended above his head by metal shackles, and his hands stuffed into the steel mittens. It had been so long since he last held his scalpel, so long since he had been able to move freely. The human mind would only be idle for so long, and even though he wasn't human anymore, he could still feel what remained of his sanity slowly slipping away. A failed attack had led to him getting captured, but instead of being turned into the police like expected, he had been chained in his intended victim's basement. Sorry, the way I said it. With no visible means of escape. The only comfort left was his captor that his captor had allowed him to retain his mask, only removing it to feed his inhuman prisoner. The door creaked and Jack tensed. As footsteps ascended the stairs, the scent of blood laced the air, making his stomach growl in hunger. It had been 2 days since his last meal. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, guys, I am back. My brother wanted to show me something. And also, I'm sorry if you can hear me going away. It's because I'm leaning back. It's also the way I'm sitting in my chair. Let me move my chair so I can't lean back that far. Whee! Alright, there we go. Alright, I'm sorry if you could hardly hear me at points. I tend to lean away. Alright. Give me a second. Alright. Okay, I'm back to where I seen it. Let's get back. And even then it was meager at best. So the life had gathered at the edge of his mouth as I thought it beating. But he didn't look up. He didn't want to look at his captor. At least not on his own. That man would come to him on his own anyway, and force him to look up at him, tearing off Jack's mask despite his struggles, feeding him an organ on his skewer stick. I don't know what that is. Well, whatever. Well, I don't know how to say the word, but whatever. In order to stay out of the range of his sharp teeth. That was how it always went. However, the footsteps stopped. After a long time of nothing happening, after a long time nothing happened. Finally, Jack slowly raised his head, peering through the black gauze filling his eye holes of the mask to look at his captor. However, instead of the tall man with the beard, he saw an unfamiliar figure, a teenage girl, staring at him with dark blue eyes that slowly grew wider. Reader's point of view. Also in the last chapter, went from the reader's point of view to Jack's point of view. Okay, back to the story. When I went to the basement, I didn't know what I was expecting to find, or even what I was looking for. As I descended the stairs, I couldn't help but notice the lights were already at their dimmest setting, giving the room's contents an eerie glow. Horror movie posters and weapons horror movie posters and weapons lined the walls with action figures, mini mask, and life-size standees of horror icons with other horror merchandise lining the floor and tables. Glancing around, my eyes adjusted to the darkness. My heart came to a abrupt stop. Leaning against the far wall was a figure clad in black, barely visible in the darkness, except for a navy blue mask and tufts of brown hair sticking out of the hood. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed its arms were suspended above its head and shackled to the wall with metal cuffs, and the hands stuffed into some weird metal mitts that looked like steel balls. For a moment, I felt too numb to think. Please be a prop, I silently pleaded. Please don't be real. Please don't be a real person. As if taking my thoughts, then a mask lifted and raised the black eyes with dripping black paint seeming to meet mine. My stomach sank upon seeing the movement. I felt like I was about to throw up. No. Buddy was keeping a person down here? He had a person chained up in the basement. How long had he been here? I was eating dinner right above here while the person was locked in the basement, sleeping in my closing bed while he was forced to sit here with his hands freezing inside the steel fetish mints. That mask, it looked like something from a horror movie. Did Buddy force him to wear it the entire time? Somehow I managed to swallow back the bile and open my mouth, but no sound came out. I didn't know what to say, but what to do? No, I did know what to do. I staggered across the room and knelt down in front of him. Pain shot through my side again, but I gritted my teeth and resisted the need to cry out as I clenched the wound. Are you okay? I managed to ask, my speech halting and slow, as I tried to keep the pain from showing on my tone. Right now, that was the last thing he needed. After a moment, he gave his... Wait, what? Gave single a nod, filling me with relief. Good. My name's Aisha. Here, let me get this off. I reached for the mask to remove it, but he recoiled and shook his head violently, catching me off guard. You don't you want it off? There's a pause, and then he shook his head. I took it as a no. This puzzled me, but I wasn't really in the mood or mindset to ask questions. There was still too much to process. My beloved uncle figure had just tried to kill me. Now I find out he was a kidnapper. Everything felt like a horrible nightmare, but the pain in my side was a constant reminder that it was all too real. When Jack saw the unfamiliar girl, he found himself catching his breath. Even in the dim lighting, he was still able to clearly see her lower back. Blue umbrella hair was messy, and her dark blue eyes, wide and almost seeming to glow against her face. Everything about her was shriveling and messy. Or just plain messy. But at that particular moment, she seemed to glow like an angel. After a few moments of staring, he realized the red spots on her shirt and pants weren't part of a design, but was blood. Seeing it made his mouth water even more. Hunger quickly rearing its ugly head. But he fought back his desire to attack. He wasn't exactly in the position to do anything anyway, and at the moment she was his only hope for freedom. The first ray of hope for weeks or even months, maybe even months. She approached and knelt before him, her face visibly in pain. Give me another moment. I'm back. It was my mom. Alright. Give me a second. Up close, he noticed there was a large tear in her shirt, through which he could glimpse out a large bleeding cuts, which didn't help his hunger pangs. Was all of that blood hers? He hoped not. She couldn't pass out on him now, or they'd both probably die. Obviously fighting off the pain, the girl asked about his well-being. Her voice was musical compared to the man's raspy voice. That man, where was he? Was he upstairs? He'd worry about that later. For now, Doc needed to focus on escaping. He didn't dare speak, not wanting his inhuman nature to slip out. It had been a while since he last spoke, and his hunger didn't make him very trusting of his ability to speak normally. For the same reason, he recoiled when she tried to remove his mask, as if he saw his face. If she saw his face, he needed her to free him first. The girl seemed to be a bit taken aback by it, but she accepted it without question. They began inspecting the cuffs. Do you know where he keeps the key? The keys for these things? She asked, her voice still slow. The counter side must really hurt. Reflexively, he tried to move his hand to point, but obviously that wouldn't work. So instead, he nodded his head towards the desk behind her, hoping she'd get the message. She turned to look and asked, "Do you mean the desk? Like one of the drawers?" Relieved she figured it out, he nodded and she staggered to her feet and slowly made her way towards it. Turning through the drawers, it seemed to be forever before she finally returned with 2 keys. If he had eyes, they would have lit up at the sight of the small metal objects. Freedom was finally in his sights. No pun intended. It is point of view. Keys in hand, I reached for the padlock of the shackles and tried to open it. Panic overcome me momentarily when the key didn't fit. Trying to jab the lock desperately until finally a simple realization hit me. This lock went with the other key. Driving the first key, I picked up the second one and slid it perfectly in. Click! The first shackle opened and his arm fell to his side limply. Okay. Soon followed by the other one. Clearly they had been suspended for quite some time if he didn't seem to have any strength. Almost done, told him with a shaky smile. The pain was starting to be getting worse, but I needed to stay strong, or at least look like it. Couldn't show any weakness. He had no to worry about. I lifted up his hands by the wrist, a hand shaking the entire time, and using the first key to undo the padlock. Click. The ball had hinged at the top, apparently meant to open it way to split open. I steadied my hands long enough to do just that. Lifting it off his hand, suddenly my body went tense and the metal mitt fell from my hand, landing on the ground with a clatter. His hand was gray, a color natural for humans. His fingernails, meanwhile, weren't just nails. They were like claws, sharp enough to shred something. I stared at them with wide eyes, unsure what to make of it. What? I sputtered, but suddenly he lunged at me, knocking me onto my back, pinning me to the ground. His one free hand wrapped around my neck, squeezing tight. I was so shocked that I didn't even try to fight back. I just stared at the navy blue mask. What the? At the moment, everything seemed to crush around me. All the insanity of the night came to head in my mind, and I couldn't take it anymore. Eyes fluttering shut, my vision blurred, and I blacked out. Alright guys, I'm not the best reader and it takes me forever to read, so I'm sorry. But anyway, ch.1